Hey trackies, welcome back to another video here on TXT Track Time. Please remember to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Expect absolute fireworks. Where? For me personally, the World Indoor Championships. That's where my mind is right now, given what I continue to see, especially last weekend at the Gibson Relays. The women's 60 meters was absolutely fire. Now, Tia took her section running at 7.02 seconds, done in a wind of above the allowable 2.6 meters per second to be exact. And also in that race was Cecily Forbes. She was second, 7.12 seconds. And in third place, tied with Janelle Smith, only separated by the thousands, was Natasha Morrison, 7.14 seconds, with Janelle in fourth, 7.14 as well. As I said, separated by the thousands of a second. Now, interestingly, her sister, Tia Clayton, so winner, Tia, her sister, Tina, also took her section and she ran at 7.04 seconds. Not much difference in terms of times. And also the wind was also above the allowable, a positive 2.2 meters per second wind. Ashanti Moore was second in this race. Now she ran at 7.18 and Amoy Brown was third. She ran at 7.22. Now let's break down what I saw in the race. Tina seemingly is back. However, I do think that there's still a vast difference between the execution from a Tia versus a Tina. That's my view, right, Tracky? So Tina took the win, right? So though the times don't really seem different, the execution tells me that Tia is still a notch above the rest. Now, I did think Ashanti Moore looked fabulous in this race. Unfortunately, she kind of pulled up in the race, so I'm hoping that she's good. I definitely thought she was giving, Tina the work in the race. I thought she was, going to be running something crazy as well. And unfortunately, she wasn't able to complete it. She did complete it, but I mean, with her best performance, right? So hopefully, as I said, this isn't something that, will hamper her for the rest of the season, because I'm thinking that Ashanti Moore is in for, one of her best years. When it comes to Amoy Brown, she's a hurdler. When it comes to running these races, she's just working on her speed in between the hurdles. So I'm loving what I'm seeing from Amoy Brown in these shorter races, the flat race that is. From a Tina perspective, interestingly, as I did say, I was at the Gibson Relays and they passed right by me. And I was looking at Tina and Tia, and Tina isn't that much bigger than Tia. It's interesting. So I'm like, look here, I don't know what the screen is doing when Tina is running, but or she's dropped a lot of pounds in the last couple of weeks, right? Because I was looking at her and she doesn't look that much bigger, which tells me that Tina is in for a big year as well when it comes to sprinting. However, as I said, from a technical perspective in terms of execution, Tia, boy, I tell you, we are going to see fireworks at the World Indoor Championships. Now, my assumption is that she's going to the World Indoor Championships. The reason is because Frano come out, come say, Kishina go. So if Kishina go, Tia go. You know what I mean? At first, I was worried that we wouldn't have any participation because it didn't look like anybody was interested to go. But now, hearing that Kishina is going, automatically my mind goes, well, clearly, Tia is going as well. And I do believe that there's a separation between Tia and everybody else so far this year that I've been seeing participating in the 60s. And I'm not talking about what we see going on NCAA related. Forget them. They're not going to be competing at the World Indoor Championships, right? So we're not going to be talking about Brianna Liston right now. So that being said, I do think that there's a separation in terms of what I'm seeing from a technical execution perspective. So even when I take into consideration, our World Indoor Championships qualifier, she's going in my mind. You know what I mean? So with that being said, I'm now to the World Indoor Championships and what can we potentially expect from her. Now, I did a little comparison between herself and Elaine Thompson-Herah. I don't think it's the best, comparison because of their running style. However, I'm doing it because they're literally at the beginning of their careers when they, entered. In my mind, as I said, Tia is going to the World Indoor Championships. So it's the beginning of her career that Elaine pretty much, entered the World Indoor Championships, and it's the same thing here that I'm expecting from a Tia Clayton. Shelley was a well-established athlete by the time she entered the World Indoor Championships in 2014 and walked away with the win, right? So even though I think, it would be better to compare her to a Shelley, I don't want to use a Shelley because Shelley was, as I said, well-established by then. Now, Elaine Thompson-Herah, interestingly, coming out of 2015, was a 10.8 sprinter, right? Same thing now for Tia, 10.86 coming out of 2024, heading into 2025. Now, when Elaine started her season in 2016, outdoors in Jamaica, she clocked in a positive win 7.17 seconds. Now we have Tia Clayton opening her season outdoors in Jamaica, clocking at 7.14 seconds, done in a negative wind, right? And the first thing I pointed out, I think I said this in the comment section, when I was looking at a Tia versus a Elaine, I said, I think that Tia Tia could potentially go faster than we've ever seen a Jamaican go this year in the 60 meters, because I think she has what Elaine doesn't have, which is a great start. And as I said in that comment as well, I don't think 2014, Shelly was really, peaked and primed because it was off season. So I never thought, even though she's clocked 6.98, the same as Elaine Thompson Hera, I've never thought this was the fastest Shelly could go over the 60. It was just a year and it was an off year, and it was the performance she had, right? So that said, I'm thinking that we could see Tia this year go faster than both of them have ever gone over the 60 meters. Now, that same year for Elaine Thompson Hera, she was able to go from a 7.17 outdoors, right, to indoors at the World Championships, where in her semifinal, she clocked a 7.04 seconds to have the fastest clocking from a 60-meter perspective, for that year, right? Again, Elaine Thompson here, whilst from an acceleration perspective, from a top end speed perspective, nobody comes close. She's the fastest ever registered athlete, when it comes to her acceleration, hands down. You can clearly see, though, that there is a distinction between how she starts versus how her acceleration. You can clearly see that she has a bad start, and then when she kicks into that gear, she's gone like zoop. You know what I mean? While for a Tia Clayton, though, she has a good start and then, great acceleration as well. So everything looks to flow a bit better. No, from that perspective, and given again the technical execution that I'm seeing, where if you watch her 60s, you can tell that she's actually getting into her running. Versus, if you look at her, do a side by side versus what you saw from a Tina versus a Tia, times were very similar. The wind was also very similar, but the execution was completely different, right? You could tell that Tia was just starting to run, right? Versus, what was going on with Tina, in her execution of her race. So that being said, if I'm looking at her now and I'm like 7.14 to start the season, and now we're down to a 7.02, and as I said, the win was above the allowable, but the execution is what is getting me, right? By the time she gets back indoors, and she did go indoors where she clocked a 7.18 as well. Elaine, for 2016, did go indoors, and I believe she clocked a 7.14 before she got to the indoor championships. So when I'm looking at a Tia, I'm saying in my mind, given the best of what I saw from Elaine beginning her season, I'm thinking that Tia is going to be clocking something below 7.00, right? I'm definitely thinking that we're getting a sub 7 clocking from her in that 60 meters, which is why I'm saying expect fireworks. I'm thinking it's going to be absolutely crazy given what we're seeing so far. And it's all based on not just her times, as I said, but how she's executing. How she's executing that 60 meters is very, very impressive to me, right? Technically, she looks phenomenal. She looks a complete different sprinter than she looked in 2024. Crazy that, this big of a change happened, right, in just, a few months. But let me tell you something. This girl is going to go ham in 2025. But we're starting from the 60. We're not going to jump the gun yet and jump over into the 100. We're starting from the 60. My expectation is to see her at the 60 meter World Indoor Championships representing, over the 60 meters. That's my expectation. Now, I may do a different video talking about herself versus Jasia Shears, when we get closer. Is Jasia Shears competing? I don't even know what's going on in the American Championships yet. I haven't checked the results, but my assumption is Jasia Shears is going to be competing, right? So, and also Kambunji, clocked a really fast time, 7:02 also over the weekend, right? So, when we get closer, I'm going to, tell you my thoughts as it relates to versus, because, these athletes are killing it. But for now, I definitely think that we can get a sub 7 clocking out of Tia when we head to the World Indoor Championships, given what I saw over the weekend. What are your thoughts? Of course, let me know in the comment section. Like the video and subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye.